Okay, welcome everybody to Banter in the Box, episode 15, game week 29 review. Quicker video than last week. I'm not in the openly beta studio, as you can see, but we'll have the normal fun and games, taking you through the league table, manager of the season update, various other things. So, starting off with the game week review. Interesting week this week. There's a real scramble to avoid the relegation battle. Big scores registered this week from the bottom two teams, Coldplay United and Johnny Forskin and the fullbacks. Is Coldplay United are going to have to go some to get out of the relegation zone, but if they keep registering scores like that every week, they might just do it. The same for Johnny Forskin and the fullbacks. Getting closer to safety, and even Joseph Starlings with his controversial all Newcastle United lineup is only 18 points from escaping the current relegation zone. Currently the bottom three managers are going down because only 3 new managers have been nominated, but he's only 21 points from absolute safety, because only if we have another nomination, only the bottom 4 can go down. And Joseph Starlings is only 21 points away from 24th place with that all Newcastle United lineup. After 1 week out of the bottom 4, Linden's Lovelies dropped back into it as they continue their personal duel with Never the Boys, who climbs into a safe position. Megan Hoxley Chamberlain in 22nd was this week's lowest scorer, and 22nd is the lowest position that Megan Hoxley Chamberlain has occupied since the 29th of August. So that's how the bottom half of the table is shaping up. And at the top, things are getting a little bit interesting. The Creed Bratton Society dropped 1 place to 12th, their lowest position since the 9th of January. And Ostrich Bar Stewards climbed the place to 11th, which is their highest position since the 9th of January. Thames Ironworks climbed 3 places to 5th with their 3rd weekly win of the season. That puts them clear second in the race to get the most weekly wins, behind Jimmy Savile's under 11s, who's the leading weekly win taker with 6. And that top 3, unchanged for the last 8 weeks, is looking interesting. All former winners of the Family Fantasy Football League. In fact, the top 6 are all former winners of the Family Fantasy Football League. Ted and Sam Juniors hanging in there in 3rd place, got a nice cushion between 4th, the one place you don't want to finish. James Appley got form for chasing down leaders. He did it a few years ago when his brother was top of the table for 34 consecutive weeks, and then James pipped him to the title in the final week of the season, and he continues to close the gap on the number 1 rated manager, Arden Diamonds. James is now just 25 points behind Arden Diamonds, and he made up 13 points this week alone. With that ratio, he'll be top in 2 weeks. But at the moment, Arden Diamonds is still top, 12 weeks at the top of the table now for the number 1 rated manager. Little nod to highest goal scorer as well. I've Got a Life has been way out in front in the highest goal scorer stakes for a while now. £10 goes to the highest goal scorer. But Grease Lightning and the Creed Bratton Society have been closing that gap steadily, and Grease Lightning now just 5 goals behind I've Got a Life, and the Creed Bratton Society just 7 goals behind. So, battle for that prize money is getting ever tighter. So that's the league table review. Now, manager of the season, no change in the table, no points scored this week. Remember, the winner of the manager of the season table gets the equivalent of £5 million. They get to use one of the new tactical gambits for free next season. We talked briefly about tactical gambits last week, and This week I sent out the full rules for next season, and all the information about tactical gambits is in there. As always, I urge you to read all of those rules before you commit to entering next season. But despite that huge incentive to be crowned the manager of the season, only 2 managers had a go at last week's Who the Fuck Is That? And they both got it wrong. Mops Hoxby and Pops Hoxby were both convinced that was their number 1 son, yours truly. And that is not a picture of me, but it is a picture of one of the Family Fantasy Football League managers. And this is now worth 6 Manager of the Season points, if you can tell me which Family Fantasy Football League manager that is. And now you know it's not me. You've got a 1 in 27 chance of getting the right answer. So, key dates to remember for next season. Now that the rules have gone out, we know the key dates to remember. The first one is that nominating new managers must be done by the 31st of July. If you know of a manager that would like to enter next season, that is the date in which you have to nominate them. At the moment, we have 3 managers nominated to join next season, and that means the bottom 3 managers in the Family Fantasy Football League will be relegated. If you know of somebody else that would like to join, you need to let me know by the 31st of July. Doesn't matter how many nominations we get. If we get more than 4, then I will simply decide which 4 managers join, and all of the other managers nominated will go on the reserve list, and how they're treated is covered in the rules that I sent out this week. The next date to remember is the 10th of August. That is the date in which existing managers have their place in next season reserved until. So if you pay your entry fee by the 10th of August, you will guarantee your entry into next season's competition. Now, if it subsequently turns out when you pay your entry fee on the 10th of August, because that's before this season finishes, and then when we announce the results on the 29th of August, after the Champions League and Europa League, you find out that you're relegated, your entry fee will be immediately refunded. One thing to remember though, if you are one of those managers that are relegated but you have paid your entry fee by the 10th of August and there are other managers who finish higher than you that do not pay their entry fee by the 10th of August, then you will not be relegated because you would have guaranteed your place in the league. So, basically the message to all of you is this. If you want to go in the Family Fantasy Football League next season, pay your entry fee by the 10th of August. 29th of August is the day that we will announce the results of this season's competition, and that is the day that I will send out the player valuations for next season. So at that point you can start picking your team, and that team needs to be entered by the 10th of September. Currently, the thinking is that next season's Premier League will start on Saturday the 12th of September. So as per the rules, all teams need to be submitted by Thursday the 10th of September, 9 p.m. That is when your new team has to be in. So you will have less than a fortnight to select your team. So when those valuations go out on the 29th of August, you will need to start pondering. Okay. And the final date to remember is that we will be hosting, as I mentioned earlier, a virtual Family Fantasy Football League Presentation Awards live on the Family Fantasy Football League YouTube channel. Hopefully that will come to you live from the Openly Beta Studios, where the audio and visual is a little bit better. And that is on Saturday, 29th of August, and it's going to kick off at around 2 p.m-ish. And that date is subject to Jack getting a better offer. But at the moment, is around at 2 p.m. on Saturday the 29th of August, so that is when we will hold the end of season presentation. The other thing that might change that date is if any of the English clubs go out of the Champions League or Europa League early, and then we might be able to have the presentation awards a bit earlier. But if that happens, I'll give you all plenty of notification on all the normal formats of the new date, should it change. But at the moment, that's the date for your calendar, Saturday 29th of August, 2 p.m. And that's it. Disappointingly, nobody jumped on board the Save Mark, Don't Let Donna Win bandwagon. So obviously none of you feel like Mark deserves a Bentley. So sorry, Mark, I did try. That's it for this week. Lots and lots of football as always this week. Isn't it great? Remember, over the next 3 days, we will see the FFFL Cup semi-finals take place. A reminder, that is Alexi Lagos versus myself in one of the semi-finals, and Steve Holmes against debut manager Sarah Simons in the other semi-final. Don't yet have a date of when the final will take place, but I will announce it way before it happens. That is it for this week, guys. Thank you very much, and I'll speak to you soon.